Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Xennial Reign, bringing my throwback knowledge to the game. And in this voiceover, I'm going to be going over the whole Raz B, Chris Stokes situation that has been trending here lately and give you guys an update on Quindon Tarver. Now, for those of you who don't know, I did do a story on Quindon Tarver a couple years ago on this channel. And before we get started on the subject of the matter, I just want to speak on that video because it was speaking on the sexual abuse allegations between Quindon Tarver and Chris Stokes Marques Houston. That is public information, and it is starting to come out more in the open because Raz B went on Hollywood Unlocked with Jason Lee and spoke on his story. And before I break all of that down, the video that I posted on Quindon Tarver comes out on his sexual abuse allegations a couple years ago. A lot of people who've seen that video, and I'll put the link to that video in the description if you want to check it out. A lot of people didn't really hear from me after that video. If you look on the channel for the subscribers, if you look on the page, I didn't post anything on this YouTube channel after that Quindon video. And I'm going to tell you why. Because a lot of people are speaking on this, because it's a quote unquote trending topic. A lot of people are speaking on this because it's very controversial. It's pretty much quote unquote tea and this and that. But I'm not doing this to spill tea. That is not the foundation of this channel. The foundation of this channel, DTB Classics, was started on Facebook with the throwback page on there. That is how I even connected with Quindon in the first place. And a lot of people who watched that first video don't know that I actually have talked to Quindon based off of that video. And I'll go into more detail about that later on in this video. But that video, I had just started the Where Are They Now series, bringing it to the YouTube based off of the comments and the feedback and the reactions that I was getting via the Facebook page. So when I first did that sexual abuse story on Quindon, it was not for quote unquote tea. It was not to try to fit in with other bloggers and speak on this subject. It was for basically the fans, the real fans of Quindon who really wanted to know, what is he doing now? Where are they now? Because the whole Facebook page was started from my VHS collection, and one of the clips that I posted on the Facebook page was of Quindon Tarver on Video Soul with Immature. And I just want to speak on the comments in that video. Some of those comments was just very disrespectful and too much. And it was too much for me at the time, and I was just like questioning a lot, like, is this really what I want to do? Because I actually have a love for the culture. I actually was a big fan of Quindon during those times. We're in the same age group, age range. So, that was my first time actually trying to do commentary on my Facebook page. And the comments was just very disgusting. I was getting disrespected. People calling me out my name for speaking on it. I am a fan of constructive criticism, but I know the difference between constructive criticism and straight up disrespect. First off, don't call me out of my name because you don't like how the video is going. If you want to give positive feedback, I will take that into consideration. But for people to be calling me out my name, and then somebody else was trying to imply on that video that I was like lusting over a little boy based off of me reacting to the clip of Quindon on Video Soul on my throwback page. First of all, me and Quindon is around the same age. And the little girl me was lusting over Quindon and Immature and all those little damn boy groups, boy bands from the 90s. The little girl me was lusting, but for somebody to leave a comment and try to imply that my grown ass is lusting over a little boy from my feedback and commentary on a video is just crazy. And I'm not about to take no disrespect from anybody because I'm putting myself in this position to speak on this subject. All opinions are welcome, but I will not tolerate disrespect. And with that being said, let me move on to the subject of the matter. Now, as far as the sexual abuse allegations with Quindon Tarver and Raz B. First, I'm going to speak on the Raz B situation because this is what's currently trending right now. Raz B went on Hollywood Unlocked with Jason Lee, spoke more on the subject of the sexual abuse allegations. And like Jason Lee said in the interview, I used that word very lightly. Okay. Raz B discussed his drug abuse. He discussed in detail what happened to him, and now he is coming out and he's calling out Chris Stokes and he's calling out Marques Houston on his Instagram, and he's willing to take a lie detector test and speak on it. And as far as Jason Lee, it is reports going around as far as a lawsuit based off of names being spoken and this and that. They trying to come for him. And Jason Lee, I guess he's putting his pettiness aside and he is trying to stand up for the cause of this situation with these young boys getting sexually abused, allegedly, using that lightly, for legal reasons, which is all good. But
I have been walking in my purpose lately and understand my responsibility with Hollywood Unlocked is much greater than the tea and always, spilling everybody's tea. My purpose is to be able to shed light on real conversations. We pivoted at my show sometime last year to bring you real issues, real conversations, and still have the wildness that we do. But I just got off the phone with Fox Soul, who airs our show. And tonight we were airing Raz B's show, where he outlines in a very important way the abuse, the alleged sexual abuse that he's endured as a victim of sex violence from family members and people around him, and as an artist in B2K and as an individual in this world. I think oftentimes Raz B has been a headline, and he admitted in the interview to drug abuse and to alcoholism, but it was a very humbling conversation where he was talking about being raped as a kid. And I just got off the phone with Fox Soul, and they're telling me that there are people who allegedly victimized him that have sent a cease and desist letter claiming that they were going to sue the network if they aired it. Let me just say this. I don't run from bullies. I'm not afraid of bullies. And I'm not going to be complicit in re-victimizing somebody who's alleging to be raped or somebody who is wanting to have their voice heard. This has happened to women time and time again. When you see the Me Too movement, when you see the Time's Up movement, men, powerful men, people with money, shutting down victims. And so I've said to the network, and I will say to the people who allegedly victimized Raz, you can sue, you can threaten, you can harass, you can do whatever you want to silence Raz B, but you will not do that with Hollywood Unlocked. You will not do that with me. So tonight, the show will not be airing. We're going to air a different show, and I ask everybody to tune into Fox Soul to watch that show. But I give you my word, I give you my commitment. There will be lots of conversations with attorneys, and if I got to call the FB motherfucking I and the police and the District Attorney of Los Angeles myself, that show will air. And any person who is a victim of rape or molest or in any other form of attack on them as a child or as an adult who chooses to come to Hollywood Unlocked to have their story shared with the world, they will have that story aired. And if you want to sue me, I will subpoena you. I will subpoena everybody there, and I will depose you. And I will sit down and ask you questions. I will ask Raz B to describe your genitalia. I will ask Raz B to tell me what your dick looks like, the dick that you put in him. I will ask him and every other member of B2K and anybody else associated with that group or that time period to come forward and have a conversation about why you allegedly, and I say allegedly loosely, fucked a little boy. And so I'm really pissed right now and don't really have all the answers. And I'm not going to name any names here because I don't want to get sued, apparently. But what I will do is commit to the full resource of contacting all of my legal team and Fox Network to air that episode that should be airing tonight, but understandably won't be because of concerns over the threats of lawsuits. I will also be getting a copy of the cease and desist letter, and I will be airing that cease and desist letter. So to the audience who has grown with Hollywood Unlocked and appreciates my full transparency, best believe I'm doing my best and my due diligence. And to Raz, I'm doing my part to make sure that your voices continue to be elevated. And I ask everybody to support Raz and support Foxhole and Hollywood Unlocked as we wade through this craziness. I don't know what else to say. So it's not a no for now. It's coming soon. And I'm fucking pissed.
Now I'm going to tie the Raz B situation into the Quindon situation because, you know, I actually talked to Quindon since a couple years ago when I first talked to Quindon. And, you know, just me actually talking to him and hearing his side of the story, it just really put me in a weird situation, in a weird place. Because like I said, I started this channel and I started the Facebook page with good intentions to bring back nostalgia to people, to update people on where they're now, for the love of the culture that I do have. And that is what excited me, and that is what kept me going with trying to grow the DTBCLASSICS brand online. But once I got in contact with Quindon and I covered this story, things changed for me. I mean, really, this is a serious matter, and I'm not taking this story lightly. And like I said, over the years, I have grown to be emotionally attached to this story. I'm not doing this story for views or for clout. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit, because these are real people. They have real lives. You know, in the media, people seem to put celebrities or people in the music industry in this certain box where they're not human and they can't speak up for themselves and they can't speak their truth so they can heal and do all of that. But me personally, I stopped posting on the YouTube after that video because the comments was just too much for me, and it really inspired me to start a spiritual journey, because I even started the Throwback page to help promote my music, use it as a unique tool and way to promote my music. I've been a rapper and producer for years and years and years. I was even sending Quindon tracks so he can get back out there and get his music out there, because, you know, the music industry is very scary. And so, like I said, it's made me start a spiritual journey and made me question if this is even what I want to do anymore. And I feel like it did the same thing for Quindon at the time with that last video, because it brought up his own inner demons, and it brought up a lot of things that he has dealt with and is still dealing with based off of this situation of the alleged sexual abuse. Now, I didn't even talk to Quindon since that last video. I did send him some tracks, send him some beats, but me and him was both going through our own things separately. And once I, fell back, rebranded, started uploading to the YouTube again, I was like, I'm doing the podcast. I'm doing the Daily Throwback podcast show. You guys can check that out, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to this as well. All right. And follow my new Instagram at Xennial Reign. I just made a new Instagram. But back to the video. Like I said, I didn't talk to Quindon until this year. Soon as I decided to make the DTB Classics podcast, Quindon reached out to me. Literally, like the week I started the podcast, Quindon reached out to me after all this time, and updated me on everything that's going on with him and has been going on with him. He is doing new music, trying to put himself out there again, and he's been going through a lot, and I'm going to make another video going into detail about that. But he's been going through a lot, and he really struggles with coming forth, speaking on this. Like years ago when Raz B first came out, and I think that video surfaced on World Star Hip Hop with him actually having a conversation with Quindon about the sexual abuse allegations. In that video, Quindon was saying how he didn't really want to speak on it. He didn't want to, do this because he was really scared to speak on it, because let's get it clear. This happened to Quindon before it happened to Raz B, okay? And a part of me is very happy that people are coming forward and want to show Raz B all this support for the situation. People, big bloggers like Jason Lee is coming forward and putting his, tea to the side and standing up for actual alleged victims of sexual assault, which is great. But why this is so hard for me to do, this video is really close and dear to my heart because, over the years, I've established a friendship with Quindon. I was a fan first, so I uploaded that video as a fan, not as a blogger trying to update people on tea and everything, because this page is all for the culture, throwback culture, people who contributed to the culture in any kind of way. And I feel like before Raz B gets his justice, Quindon needs to get his justice, because let's get it clear. Quindon was the real talent out of all of them. Quindon was a solo artist. He was a real child prodigy. He was really on his way. He had the potential to be the next Tevin Campbell, the next Usher, okay? He got that opportunity cut short because of this situation. And if it would have got nipped in the bud with Quindon, then Raz B wouldn't have to be coming out and speaking on this now, because it wouldn't have happened to Raz B. Okay. And I feel like, a lot of bloggers are speaking on this, and they kind of talk about Quindon like he swept under the dang mat, like he swept under the rug. And they speaking on Quindon like he really like a nobody. And it's just so not fair, because he actually had the real talent.
And home, when Jesus is my portion, a constant friend, oh, is he. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know he watches.
Hallelujah.
Me. I sing because I'm happy, and I sing because I am free. And oh, my God's eye is on the sparrow, and I know, yeah, he watches me.
out of both groups, Immature, B2K, of course, they're going to sell more records and be more known because it's a group situation. But let's be clear, I don't even know if Raz B can sing or if he ever sung in the group, okay? Quindon is the singer. He's a true singer. Man, that's why he still has fans today. His first solo album, his only solo album that was released with that label, it sold millions, and people fail to realize that Quindon sold millions of records by himself. And because of this situation with the sexual abuse allegations, all the things that Raz B came out on Jason Lee Hollywood Unlocked and said that happened to him, it happened to Quindon first, and it happened to him in the worst way because Quindon was younger, way younger than Raz B getting in the music industry. And it's just sad because, like I said, me having a music background, me also having family who was in a popular music group in the 90s, being from the same state as Quindon and seeing how that, the music industry affected my family. It just really made me feel some kind of way. It really just touched my heart, this story. So like I said, I'm saying all this to break down that this is not for no damn clicks and views or whatever. Like, these young men was violated. Ain't no price of fame. The price of fame will never be that high for me and shouldn't be that high for anybody else. It's just really disgusting when you think about it, and really talking to Quindon one-on-one, hearing what he had to say. So, like I said, Quindon was actually going to come on my podcast show and really go into detail about everything because, he has done interviews about this, but not on the level as Raz B just did with Jason Lee, okay? It was going to be Quindon's time to shine and his time to actually speak his truth. And that was cut short because, he's really going through a lot in his life, in real life. This is really affecting him, and it has been affecting him his whole dang life. In the Jason Lee interview when Raz B came out and he was like, I suffer from alcohol abuse. He said, my friends always ask me, I'm surprised you never tried to kill yourself over this. But I'm just thinking like, well, dang, Quindon actually did try to kill himself. Quindon has gotten help for alcohol and drug abuse. And actually right now, as I speak, Quindon had to check into a treatment center. He's in a 30-day treatment center right now dealing with this. This man has really tried to take his life. The same thing happened to Raz B, but not on the level as Quindon, because Quindon was a solo artist. So it really affected him on a whole nother level, because if it affected Raz B, look, his band members can still move on with their life. They can still tour because, when B2K went on that tour, Raz B stopped showing up. So that don't mean it's the end for B2K if Raz B decides not to be a part of it. But like I said, it affected a solo artist way worse. He got money kept from him as well. Quindon did. Blackballed. No more opportunities to put out music. And at the end of the day, this is what this all should be about: the music, the talent. These young men, they're all talented. But like I said, Quindon was the real star on the come up. He was so young. He had his full career ahead of him, and it got cut short from this. And, Chris Stokes Marques Houston, they haven't spoken on this. And it's just really disturbing, because at my age, being a Xennial, from Generation Zen, If you was a young girl, young teenage girl, Immature was your group. I don't care what you say. They was my first concert. Anything with Immature or anything with anybody affiliated with Immature, I was buying it. I was all for it. I was a big fan. And for even the allegations with Marques Houston, it's like, wow. As a young girl, we liked you and looked up to you, but behind the scenes, you're allegedly molesting people. Like, it's just too much. Quindon, he had reached out to me just recently because we actually had a time set like 3 times for Quindon to come and speak his truth and speak his story on the Daily Throwback Classics podcast. He was scheduled each time, but then he had to really call and let me know that this is just a lot. This is a lot for him, and he was kind of scared to come forth and speak on this, especially with everything going on in his life. Him feeling like somebody will try to kill him. And he specifically asked me, do you got your lawyers together? Because I'm spilling names and I'm about to say everything. And it was going to be his chance to speak his truth so he can try to heal and move past it and give us the new music and the new heat that all his fans is waiting for, who still remember Quindon. Now, I feel like if everybody coming out saying justice for Raz B, then we need to put some respect on Quindon's name, and he needs the justice first, okay? I'm not trying to make it seem like Raz B shouldn't get his justice, but let's be clear. If Quindon got his justice first, then what happened to Raz B wouldn't have happened. So this is why some people who are in these situations struggle with coming out, because you don't want your life threatened and you don't want, all the feedback and the criticism. And that's why I spoke on people in the comments. Like, some people are just so weird and just say anything because they're behind a phone or a screen, when this is people's real lives. This is something they really dealing with. And if they're not dealing with it, all the evidence is there. Like, this man has not healed from this situation. He's in a treatment center right now as we speak. And he's trying to get his life back on track. But on the bright side, Quindon did say that he is getting some money back that's owed to him, that was taken from him during this time, that can really help him out right now. And, it's like artists, they still want to do music, but do I get with a major? How am I going to put my music out there with all this? All this is overshadowing what this is really supposed to be about in the first place. And like I said, this whole story situation, it made me question, do I want to do music? It made me fall back. I didn't even post on this YouTube because this is serious and this is real. And I feel like it was really a blessing that Quindon wasn't able to make it to the podcast because of all the stuff he had going on with deaths in the family. Mo 3 is Quindon's cousin as well. I'm going to make another video about that. So he was dealing with the death of his cousin, Mo 3, along with all this childhood trauma, all this stuff still affecting him. And it's just a lot. But with the Jason Lee interview, he might be, he has lawsuit allegations coming against him for speaking on names. They trying to shut it down. They trying to shut down the video that Raz B did and all this kind of stuff. And I'm kind of glad that Quindon didn't come out and spill all of that information on my platform, because I'm not as big as Jason Lee. And, I have been trying to get all the legalities together, before I be doing stories on people like this, because it's just a dark industry, the music industry. I would never suggest putting my child in the music industry. I mean, it can mess you up for life. It just really can. And I don't know. It's just, because I've talked to Quindon and I've established a somewhat friendship with him throughout this time, it just really pisses me off how people be trying to play Quindon like he a nobody. Like, it's just all about Raz B. No, all the victims need their justice. And I feel like especially Quindon, because this happened to him first. He was younger. He had way more potential. No shade to Raz B, but he was a solo artist doing his thing, selling millions in middle school. Okay? Quindon was in the Romeo and Juliet movie when he was a child. Before he got signed with a major label, he was already doing his thing, and that just got cut short. Nobody knew what happened to Quindon. Me being a fan, growing up on Immature, growing up on Quindon and all that, recording it on my VHS as a fan, as a young girl, like, I really want to know what the hell happened to Quindon, because he was talented. His voice was everything and still is everything. So, with this trending right now, all I ask for people to do is speak on Quindon too. Start a hashtag for Quindon, justice for dang Quindon. If we doing justice for Raz B all of a sudden, once he gets out of the treatment center, that he's still gonna do the interview and he still wanna speak his truth. But I feel like it's helping him to grow and heal so he could be a better version of himself. And it's deeper than just views and clicks and all that kind of stuff, because Quindon actually did try to kill himself, and he sent me a picture of that. He texted me a picture of that when he was in the hospital from trying to take his life. And nobody's speaking on that. Nobody's speaking on, dang, this really, really messed Quindon up. All right. Now, I'm glad that Raz B is coming out and speaking on this and more in detail and really calling out Chris Stokes. Like, I'll take a lie detector test and this and that. But he said himself that he never tried to kill himself, or it wasn't like that for him. But on the other end of the spectrum, we have Quindon here that was a rising star, was a child prodigy, released one solo album that sold millions. He was on Video Soul. He was on Soul Train. He was on the come up, and all that the rug just took from under his feet just like that because of all this. And it's really unfair. And this is really serious because, not one, but two people are saying this, and justice needs to be served. No major media is covering this, and if somebody do speak on it, they getting threats with being sued and all this kind of stuff. So that's why I was like, I don't know. I didn't make no videos after that Quindon video. That first one I did. I'm glad that he didn't come on the podcast and speak on this, because I don't want nobody coming for me. I'm not doing this for that. I'm doing this for the culture, baby. Okay, this is what DTB Classics is all about. And I'm going to continue to update people on people that they grew up listening to, admiring, and things of that nature. So with that being said, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on this situation. And until next time.
I let my tape rock to my tape.